Hi, I'm Joe Polizzi, and this is the Content Inc. podcast. 5 minutes every Monday for content creators who desire to be content entrepreneurs. Typically with podcast ads, there's a coupon code used to track engagement. You may have noticed the Lulu ads on this podcast haven't provided any codes at all. That's because creating an account and using Lulu is absolutely free. On top of publishing for free, you're on track to earn more, as books are among the top 3 most profitable tactics to monetize your content. Turning your content into a printed book with Lulu has never been easier. Create a free account today at lulu.com. First off, just a personal note of thanks to you. So many of you have supported our first annual Orange Effect Foundation Night at the Races with your $20 horse names. My sincere thanks to you. Now, if you're listening to this before November 3rd, 2023, there is still time to contribute by buying your horse for our big event. It's $20 a horse name, and you get to pick the actual horse name. Just go to OEFraces.com. That's OEFraces.com. And when you do that, just a big thanks to you. It's going to be a great win for the kids who really need speech therapy and can't afford it. And just so you know, my horse name is called Travis Swift. And if you know, you know. Well, after months of planning and creating and then editing content, the new joepolizzi.com site is live. Special thanks to my friend Michelle Martello from Minima Designs for putting everything together. She's fantastic, and the design was all hers. I can't recommend her enough. I thought today's podcast would be helpful from the standpoint of what changes I made and why I made those changes. I think we've come a long way with personal websites right now, and I'm really happy with what we're trying to do with joepolizzi.com. So, in no particular order, here we go. First, I think most personal websites have what I call a Bob Dole problem. Everything is in the third person. That was the problem with my former site. It was Joe does this and Joe does that. Joe's an expert in blah, blah, blah. Maybe there was a time to do this, but in today's online marketing world, we are rewarded for what makes us different and also how we can communicate as individuals, human beings, not big corporate entities. By the way, such an opportunity for individuals today. You can give yourself permission not to communicate like a big boring company. You can be you, and people respond positively to that, so be you in all your glory. So when you see the homepage, you'll see so much orange, it'll make your eyes hurt. I want to own orange. You know that. I've always wanted to own orange. I want people to think of me when they see the color in the wild. It's always been a part of me, and I really needed to go all in on my website with this for years. Now on the page is a graphic of me on stage with a big smile and a call to action on the right. I'll talk about that in a second. But below that is a letter from me in my voice where I say, and this is just a sample, "Hi, I'm Joe Polizzi, father, husband, son, friend, entrepreneur, marketer, author, podcaster, speaker, also known as the godfather of content marketing in certain circles, and a devout lover of the color orange." And right there under color orange is when I link to an article about how I came to lean into the color orange. I go on and say, I'm the author of 5 best-selling marketing books and 1 incredible marketing thriller, which have sold more than 500,000 copies worldwide. My work has been featured in the New York Times, Insider, and Entrepreneur around both content marketing and content entrepreneurship. And then I have a link to where they can learn more about my work. And then I go ahead and talk about my speaking, and then I talk about my complete story with links to each one. I don't go into all the detail telling everything about me. I say, here's a little bit about me, and if you want to learn more, click here. So the point is, talk to your web visitor like you would when you meet somebody at a conference or even a close friend. You don't want to go into a ton of detail, but if they want to find more, give them that opportunity. Now, second, I have a ton of very small, what I call micro CTAs, or micro calls to action. My 2 podcasts, all the books, the foundation, etc. But on every page, I only have one big call to action. The only thing that I want is for the person to subscribe to my newsletter. It's at the top and bottom and side of every page on the site. The point? Every website has a goal or should have a goal. My website's goal is to convert the website visitor into a long-term subscriber. Now, if I'm serious about that goal, all the other clicks need to be secondary. So you can really focus on how you want this thing to be great with this one call to action, whatever yours is. Third, I edit my expertise on the main pages. We talked a little bit about this. If someone wants to know my full resume, I link them to an interview I did last year with a journalist. You can do the same thing by just answering Q&A questions. But on the main pages, I just want to be helpful. For example, my books page. Now, I've written 8 books, but God forbid if they go and buy, say, my first book from 2008, Get Content, Get Customers. I do not want them to do that. So at the top, I say, since 2008, I've written 8 books. Here are the ones you should care about. Then I list a synopsis of each one and a landing page for each one. Now at the bottom, I tell them not to buy 3 of my books as they are outdated. And finally, I updated the newsletter. My every other week newsletter, called The Random, is no more. It's now Joe Pulizzi's Orange Letter. And I linked everything up with ConvertKit, bye-bye MailChimp, and added a welcome sequence. My welcome sequence goes like this. First, someone gives me their email address. That's all I ask for. Then they receive a confirmation letter, which gives them a free copy to my goal setting guide. That's one thing. Once they confirm, they get a, hey, I like you already email, very informal, telling them a little bit about what they're going to receive, a link to the download, but also asking them what they would like to hear about directly from me. I learned this from Ann Handley. When someone signs up for your newsletter, ask them a question first. If they answer, it will really help with deliverability. Plus, you get some really good information, insight into your audience. Now, on day 2, I send them my free investing guide with some detail about how I created it. On day 3, I send them a bunch of free content, a bunch of my cool speeches that I did, and some articles that I think are going to be the most helpful. And then on day 4, I give them all the ways that we can help each other, specifically how I can help them long term. After that, they'll get the newsletter ongoing. And I know what you're thinking. There are a lot of people that do 5 or 7 or 10-day welcome sequences, and I got to tell you, I'm not a fan. 4 felt like the right way to do it. 4 felt like giving them enough information without just overloading. So I'm going to see how this goes. We'll test it. So far, the feedback has been pretty positive. So in review, as you start looking at your website, 1, make it personal. Have the copy come from you and not the third person. 2, lean into what makes you, well, you. Your differences are a positive. Accentuate that. 3, you should have only one major call to action. The most important thing is that they start to receive regular communications from you. You can sell them things down the road once they come to know, like, and trust you. Now, 4, you don't have to put everything in your copy. When you can, write secondary articles and just link to those. These are also great for what's left of search engine optimization. I finally created an article called Why Joe Pulizzi Likes the Color Orange. And finally, the welcome sequence is a must for no other reason that if your subscriber confirms and then replies to an email, your deliverability should skyrocket. Now, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or ideas, let's try out my brand new contact page at joepulizzi.com. Please let me know what you think. Until then, lean into your own content tilt and then deliver on that promise consistently. I'll talk to you next Monday.